Facebook, or we're going live on YouTube, Facebook.
Groundhog Day, Snyder Cut.
Wow.
Godfather
Part 3.
There you go. Snyder Cut.
That explains
Do you want to clap
a
it in?
lot.
Let's clap it in.
You want to say hi to our YouTube, Facebook?
Hello,
friends?
YouTubers and Facebookers. We're about to start a pod in just a second here.
Did everyone retweet with comment?
I haven't retweeted. I'll do it in a second. I'm going to start with my intro.
No, you must retweet with comment first.
Here we go. Hello, my name is Ravi, and with me are my two brothers, Krishna and Arjuna. Today or tonight, depending on when you're listening, we'll be discussing The Old Guard on Netflix. There's also a bunch of news, some of it good, some of it bad. Kind of like my hair. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Arjuna may have forced Christopher Nolan to delay Tenet. Krishna shaved his beard and paid Arjuna a bunch of money. I'm spitting out vlogs like they're out of style. So many things don't make any sense. Also, spoiler alert. Spoilers ahead. Without further ado, whistle on intro tune. Don't read this part, dummy. Seriously, stop.
Glad he read it.
I knew you would.
Yes.
That's why I put it there.
That's how I
well
work.
done. Well
Thank
done.
you. That is...
You delivered the intro exactly how I thought you would when I wrote it.
That's amazing.
When did you
It's
write
glorious.
it, Krishna?
7-ish minutes ago?
Wow.
Do you proofread my intro before dropping it?
God, no.
You just kind of drop it?
That's a great question. Spoilers for what? The Old Guard, specifically.
Yes. If you haven't watched Old Guard on Netflix, we're going to be spoiling Old Guard.
The new Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron.
Sharon.
Charlize Theron.
I like Theron.
Charlize. I mean, I think we're all saying it incorrectly.
Yeah. Charlize.
That's part of our shtick, you know? We mispronounce everybody's name.
Yeah.
If someone... never mind. I'm not going to repeat that because that's wildly inappropriate.
Oh, God.
Somebody said my kind of English is not like the Queen's English. It's more like the second removed cousin of the Queen's English. So not very well done. Not well good. Wow. Anyway, Old Guard. Typical action movie and then a twist. Read that in the outline here.
Oh, well, so, okay. I just watched this movie. Literally, I just finished it maybe half an hour ago. And, you know, you guys were like, oh, you got to watch it. You know, it's interesting, whatever. I start the movie. First 10 minutes, I'm almost zoned out. I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. Netflix has, you know, been pumping out these action movies.
Kind of like you in the vlogs.
And I'm like, holy crap, these are all the same, right?
Yep.
I'm just like, oh, this is going to be the longest 2 hours of my life. And the movie starts out, it almost starts out like Extraction, right? What's his name? Thor. Chris Hemsworth movie, right? Where he's like bleeding out, right?
Extraction,
right? He's going to die. And like you kind of see Charlize Theron, looks like she's dead. I'm like, oh, great. So this is the formula now, right? We show the ending first, and then you go back to the beginning, and you see how they die. I'm like, whoop-de fucking do. First 10 minutes, spoiler alerts. First 10 minutes, they die. I'm like, wow, okay. And I was like, wait, this is too early. Like, they're immortal. This isn't an action
Well,
movie.
hold on a second. Did you know anything about this film before going? Did you watch the trailer that Netflix has? Do you know about the graphic novel? Any of that information?
No, literally.
So you went in completely blind.
Yeah, literally.
Nice.
I just saw it under the suggested featured movies of Netflix. I'm like, oh, this seems like it's a big movie. I saw there was an article about it. I'm like, okay, maybe this is something to talk about on the pod. I think I talked to you like earlier in the week. I'm like, hey, there's this new Charlize Theron movie. Maybe we could review it for the podcast on Monday. And that was it. Literally, I didn't want to do any research into it.
So I knew, this is what I knew. I saw the first 20 seconds of the Netflix trailer, like while scrolling through Netflix, where right in the beginning she says, we've lived forever, we've been around forever, whatever. So right off the bat, I knew there was some kind of immortality, whatever thing going.
Okay.
And beyond that, that's all I knew. I didn't actually know really that it was based on a graphic novel.
Yep.
Didn't know the extent of the graphic novel. So I went in somewhat blind. I knew the big mechanic, the immortal mechanic. Christian, did you know, you knew nothing?
Well, I didn't know about the immortal mechanic until you mentioned it right off the top. Like right before.
So I fucked up the movie for you.
Well, not really. So you didn't fuck it up because I really was expecting to be bored. Like I was like, I was expecting it
Yeah,
to be
same.
Same.
like not even 10% of the masterpiece that Triple Frontier is, right? So, that's what I was expecting. I was like,
Triple
10%
Frontier,
Triple
here we
Frontier,
go.
which is a great movie.
It's funny. I keep mixing up Triple Frontier and Extraction.
How
To me, in my
dare you.
mind,
I liked
they're
both
the
of those
same-
movies.
They're the same piece of crap.
Do you know why
Netflix
you
action
probably
movie.
this is real like sidestep here. Part of the reason I think you see those two films similarly is two reasons, and please don't people jump down my throat for saying this. White male lead actor, or ends, and then already this green color palette throughout the entire film.
Yeah, you're right.
That's probably
You're right.
why visually in your brain you're probably mismatching scenes.
Yeah, honestly,
So
if you showed me like 10 scenes and you're like, okay, if it doesn't have the leads or whatever or quick shots or whatever, and you're like, guess the movie, I probably get most of them wrong.
Sure.
So with Arjuna's take right there, I'm curious, Arjuna, about because me and Christian obviously talked about it a lot. You just saw this. You were bored, obviously, for the first 10 minutes. How did you feel at the very end?
At the end of, you mean when the movie was over?
Yeah, like what was your thought process?
I was like, okay, this is I was like, okay, this is
This is a film.
this is a movie,
A film has been done.
and I enjoyed the journey. It was a journey, but I wasn't after that twist. I was just kind of like, like it was just like, it was cool, and the action scenes were cool, but you take out that twist, and there really is no difference from the Triple Frontier, Extraction, Old Guard, right? Like, it is action movie with killing people,
Yeah.
and then it sets up, ambiguous ending type of thing where there could be a sequel. Ooh.
I will say this. I was pleasantly surprised
Mm.
because I do agree with you. If you take it for what it is, and if we just kind of monotoned the color palette and we just made every actor kind of the same,
Yeah.
to a degree, yes, it's very similar, and you remove the magical element of immortality. What I really liked about this film was the diversity of the cast right off the bat. I thought having Charlie as the lead in this was an interesting one. She's the eldest. In terms of like the two male immortality characters being a couple.
There's three.
There's three, but the two that were a couple,
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, unique. The new immortality person being a black female soldier, part of an all-female squad in the Middle East. I thought that was another unique and something a little bit different than what we're kind of used to. Like, if you compare this thing to, like, Triple Frontier is the staple 1980s action movie where
Hey,
it's
Oscar Isaac's in it. He's
Yeah.
not completely white.
no, of course, but
Thank you.
can you say
Finally.
can you say that?
Yeah.
Can you say that?
He's almost, as they say, like white passing kind of, right?
Well, I mean, that's what they say in Hollywood, unfortunately. Yeah.
So, but he is there. Obviously, he's not. He is Isaac.
Yeah.
Who even knows? Yeah.
But yeah, when you compare that to this film, I still feel it's different enough that it was entertaining and enjoyable. And then also, you know me. I love the sci-fi type elements of things. I always find that fascinating. And this took the take on immortality in a new direction where it wasn't just straight up, I'm Superman level immortality, I can't die. It is, I can regenerate, and I feel that pain, which sounds fucking terrifying. And, I don't know when I'm going to die. That element right there I thought was very, very unique. Is, sure, I could run in, save all these, hostages, whatever, and I don't have to be as careful, but at the same time, I don't know if this is going to be it. And that in itself has like a whole slew of different kinds of consequences.
Yeah. So 2 points. First of all, Charlize Theron
Charlie.
has become the action star of our generation.
Has
She was in Mad Max. She was in
Atomic Blonde.
She's obviously in this. She was in another one. Is it Resident Evil?
No, that's not her.
She was in a different one. Where she's like wielding a sword and stuff like that. So she has done, I feel like, more interesting action movies than maybe any other actress.
She's
star
also
today.
a great actress. I mean,
Yes.
the big movie she was in before this was the one about Fox News, Bombshell.
Oh yeah.
Where she plays
I never saw
Megyn
that.
Kelly. And like that makeup and her performance and everything is very, very well done.
Yeah.
Movie's okay, but she's like the standout of the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, she's really good. And then the other thing as well is just to your point earlier about action movies. Action movies in general are never complicated.
Right,
There's not a
formulaic.
single, not a single one. So if you keep that in mind, I think
What
this
about The Dark Knight?
not an action movie. This takes like this takes the
genre.
genre and actually does something like somewhat interesting.
Yeah,
with it,
they're
you know?
definitely interesting elements, and to piggyback off the sci-fi fantasy elements, I did like, because I feel like action movies and a lot of movies these days feel like they have to explain everything, right? I like that they didn't explain much, right? They don't know really why they're immortal. They don't know how the mechanic works. They don't know when your time runs out.
She doesn't even know about all the good that she's done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
I did like that. So I
Until
liked,
Chitwell told her.
yeah, I liked all of those elements that and they don't have the answers, and it's not like this movie's about them finding out and like, oh, there can only be 4. Now that there's 4, Charlize will die. You know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
a
Like,
it's a very simple thing, and it makes sense. What's nice is it's these individuals that have immortality. Obviously, somebody at some point is going to realize they've been around for a hot minute, and we're going to see what happens. A pharmaceutical evil corporation has a private army, goes and steals them, takes them, and wants to monetize and make money off
Ravi,
of that.
this is a sequel to Harry Potter. Okay,
Boom.
Dudley Dursley
Yeah.
grew up.
Right.
He lost the weight. And he became,
Can't lose the weight.
He became a CEO of a pharmaceutical company,
And it's still a dick.
and he became even more of a dick.
yeah.
He became like a truly terrifying individual. Also, for the whole movie, I thought it was Crabbe or Goyle. I didn't realize it was Dursley, like Dudley. And I was like, and then at the end, I think you
Hey,
looked it up.
Krishna, real quick. Krishna, not all white young male British actors are the same.
Who are bullies?
Who are bullies are the same.
They weren't
unique.
all in Harry Potter, just 90%. So actually, when I first saw him, I didn't realize it was Dudley either until I looked it up after. I was like, oh, they got a knock. So as the movie was going, I was like, these are all knockoff versions of different actors, right? So the immortal that portrays them, spoiler alert, when he had glasses on, he kind of looks like Chris Evans. So I'm like, okay, knock off Chris Evans. When I saw him, I'm like, oh, he kind of looks like the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith. So I was like, oh, knock off Matt Smith.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize that. So you're saying that? Yeah, he kind
I
of does
can-
have.
So
a
I was like,
Matt
I was like,
Smith
I was like, okay, all of these characters, they had a specific actor in mind, couldn't get them, and these are the backups.
I don't know if that's true. That's mean to say about the actors.
But it's true.
It's not true. Clearly, this was set up so that there was a sequel. Her Charlie's character's, I'm assuming love interest.
I don't know if it was love interest.
I mean, what's nice is they didn't say either or. I think you can kind of interpret the actions and everything and make up your own decision. I mean, maybe best friend in the world.
maybe. So the character's name was Quinn, and now this character is the connection to Star Wars,
Explain
The
how.
Last Jedi.
How?
So in The Last Jedi, there is a character, and this character has a sister.
Rose's
no.
At
sister.
the beginning of the movie.
Oh, this is the actress that
Rose's-
plays.
This is
Rose's
the
sister?
this is a Vietnamese actress. Her name is Veronica is No or Ngo Tan Van, and she plays in Star Wars: The Last Jedi Paige Tico, which is Rose's sister who dies at the beginning. And it's actually funny because she was interviewed for this movie, and she was talking actually about Star Wars and how when she filmed that role, she had no idea how pivotal the scene was. She was just like, it was a day of shooting. I was told to pilot this ship and then drop the bomb and it blows up, but I had no idea who my character was or anything like that. So it's interesting. She kind of did obviously a Star Wars movie and this movie, very small role, but both very pivotal scenes that the character's in. But she appears, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie.
Well, she was in a little bit of the flashbacks, right?
yeah.
So
Still a small role though, right?
yeah.
And clearly setting up a sequel where she will come and kill all the immortals.
Yeah.
I don't know
What?
if she's gonna kill all the immortals. I think she's gone.
She's
'cause
crazy, right?
They said it.
She's definitely crazy.
Right, and let's discuss this.
Drowning for 500 years. will make
Yeah.
you nuts.
Can we power rank the like in this universe, having immortality sucks. It sounds like the worst fucking thing in the world.
Well, it's not
I will say
even-
this,
it's-
they all choose this way of life. They don't
Right.
have to go out killing.
It's
okay?
not
they
true,
could
right?
Live long,
and it's not
fruitful
true
lives away.
immortality, right? They talk about like we're all gonna die at some point.
Yeah.
So technically, it's just that they go in recklessly, but they could still die like
Delayed,
anybody else.
so it's delayed death.
Exactly, and they feel all
Jeez.
that pain. Yeah, it's a pretty shitty deal.
So yeah, 500 years of drowning over and over again, 100 years of just being alone, right? That's what happens to the individual that betrays them. One thing that popped up in my head, right? So there is a thing where you can drink yourself to death. Do you think these characters have ever tried that? And
Yeah.
what does
Oh,
that
absolutely.
look like? And what kind of level of drunkenness is that?
There's a scene early in the movie when Charlize picks up Nile, the new immortal, and they're in the plane.
Mhm.
And as they're taking off, she opens up like it looks like a bottle of vodka or gin or clear
Pours the whole
liquor.
thing.
And she basically pours the whole thing down her gut. And I was like, we were sitting up there, and I was like, like can they get drunk, or how does this immortality work, right?
Because
'Cause, like,
alcohol at the end of the day is just poison.
Yeah. So take a character like the Flash, right? So
Yes.
the Flash like
Metabolizes.
so quickly he can't get drunk traditionally. Is that how these characters work? But then you see them sleeping and eating, so you'd think that they could get drunk, but they can't die from it, or they
Right.
could die from it, but then they'll just be revived.
Their liver will regenerate.
Yeah, so
Well,
they could kill themselves from alcohol.
Well,
poisoning.
your liver does regenerate anyway.
Right.
Like you could chop it in half and it will regrow. So we're already kind of immortal.
No.
Our livers are.
So our livers will live forever.
That's
That's great.
That's why it's called a liver.
oh.
It
'cause
lives.
Wow, that's good.
That's terrible.
That's really weird. Any other last minute comments on that, or should we go around the horn?
Oh, but for the movie?
Yes.
I will say this, real quick. What do you guys think of the action? I think, say what you will about these Netflix action movies. All three, I would say, in my opinion,
Mhm.
that I've seen of Triple Frontier, Extraction, and this one's maybe the best. And I actually think the other two action movies are really good with their action. This one might be the best because of the choreography that they had.
They've definitely all three of the movies, right? Triple Frontier, Extraction, and now Old Guard, all have great action.
That's what I said.
And they throw
I just said that.
into Five Bloods, right? Like
Yeah.
another Netflix action movie.
Mm.
Great action, right?
Yeah.
Like all of and so they've definitely nailed that part of the genre, right? For
That, by the way, is 70% of
well, yeah,
of the movie.
you better nail that, right?
Yeah.
For sure. So very good, very good.
I would say I agree with you 100%. Action is great. The
Yeah.
one thing they royally fucked up,
the CGI?
the soundtrack.
Oh, I disagree with you on that.
The song that they use when they're all together in the church and Chitwell is going after them, that song and how it matched with the cutting felt like somebody went cut it and then they just threw the music on top with no care if it actually matched well. And it just felt very kind of awkward.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one scene in terms of the action where the action looked great. It probably would have been a better scene if they just had no music.
Right.
But for some reason, they picked that song.
Just that one scene in particular.
That one scene sticks out very, very hardcore.
In general, I actually liked the use of the modern music
Yep.
throughout the movie, and it went. I can't remember that specific scene, but for most of the movie, I actually really liked it. I thought it flowed well, kind of like with the diversity of the cast and everything, and it just not even just by the actors, but also like they all come from very different times too, right? Like Charlize Theron is from Greek times, and two of the guys are from the Crusades. One of them was a soldier for Napoleon. One of them is a soldier from Afghanistan. You know what I mean? So 4 vastly different time frames. So I thought that was kind of cool. What did you guys actually think of the flashback action sequences? Because they showed that when they showed Quinn,
Surprisingly,
right?
really good.
right?
Yeah, yeah. For a flashback, they like went all out with the set
Yeah.
and the costumes and the horses and stuff. I'm like, that's a lot of money to
Do you
invest in a
guys-
flashback.
Do you guys think there's more of that shot? Like there was a lot more of that shot that they left cut, and maybe are going to put into a sequel.
I mean, they went into
that would
this.
make sense.
They went into this knowing there would be sequels. There are, and someone correct me if I'm wrong. There are 2 volumes right now for the graphic novel. Excuse me. There's 1 volume right now. The next volume is actually going to be released in September of this year. So I would not be surprised if obviously they're working closely with the creators of the graphic novel, and I mean, if you're smart about it, yeah, shoot everything at once, bank the content, put it out later.
Well, they are, because the screenplay was also written by the author.
Yeah.
Real quick, will this movie, with the second volume coming out in September, will you guys pick up that graphic novel to read?
Who's
Potentially.
distributing it? Do you know, anyone know?
The graphic novel?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I mean, if it's through the DC Universe app, then yeah, because I get it for free. So
You don't pay for the DC app?
no, I paid the DC Universe thing.
Then it's not free, is it?
Well, I paid for it with your credit card.
What? You did?
Yeah. Every couple of months, I put something in one of your credit cards to see if you notice.
You are just.
So it seems like Greg Rucka, the writer, works with DC Comics, because he's written a few DC miniseries like Superman, World of New Krypton. So I would assume potentially this came out through DC.
Wow.
Well, then I'm going to check after this podcast to see if it's there.
There you go.
Nice. Arjuna, was Old Guard good?
Excuse me. It's just
Well,
boring.
that yawn, I think.
I know that. I mean, he's yawning, so clearly he
No,
hated it.
I would say that the movie was good. I did enjoy it.
Oh,
I
wow.
would say that, as we talked about the other two notable Netflix, and let's throw in The Five Bloods. I know it's more than that one's more of an action movie.
It's a psychological thriller.
I mean that's still the best of those four. But if you bring in the other two, this is, I think, much better than Triple Frontier and Extraction. So yes, it is good. Krishna, was the Old Guard good?
It was, but clearly my floor for what is good on Netflix is low, so that should be no surprise to anyone. Ravi, was The Old Guard good?
I'm going to say yes, it's good. I would be very curious to see, and this is the tricky thing about the world we live in, if there are all these other movies that are out and about. We would have seen Wonder Woman by now. We would have seen Black Widow by now. I'm curious to see if would have ever gone to this film, and if we had newer, bigger blockbusters in our brains circling around, would we still think this is good? I always wonder those things, but
This movie was
the first-
always destined for Netflix, by the way. It wasn't like it was
Yeah.
one of the. It was originally for theaters. It was always for
Yeah.
Netflix.
I feel like the first answer is probably not,
Hmm.
because it would have been too much.
Yep.
The second answer is I still think it would have been good, because I think it's unique enough in the genre, right? We don't actually go watch action movies in theaters, but we're more of like the blockbuster, the superhero stuff,
which is still an action movie. Like
Yeah,
a Black Widow movie. Like
those are still a little different though. We judge them differently.
Sure, but I would have like a Black Widow movie is top notch. They've spent hours and hours and millions of dollars in the choreography and all that stuff. Knowing what you have known, seeing Black Widow, and then seeing this movie.
The choreography in this is better than anything that's going to be in Black Widow, because it has to be. Black Widow and all those Marvel movies have this like crazy CGI. They don't have to rely so much on the choreography.
Here's a hotter take, right? Superhero movies have turned into the '90s action movies, right?
Yes.
They're very cookie cutter, very formulaic.
One-liners.
They're gonna make $100 billion.
Yeah.
$100 billion.
Action movies are now more niche, right? You don't get as many action movies in the theater anymore, and they're starting to find a home on stream, right? And I would say of this batch of Netflix action movies we've been talking about, you're starting to see potentially better quality action movies today than you've seen maybe in the last 10, 15 years.
Maybe ever.
Because superhero movies have taken that place of the niche
The
80s,
blockbuster.
90s blockbuster action movie.
Yeah.
Here's an even hotter take. Would you say Marvel films are superhero films and DC films are action movies?
No.
Did you see Wonder Woman?
But for an action movie to be like considered an action movie, like the main reason you go see something has to be like explosions and fight, like, and maybe that is why someone would go see Wonder Woman, but I still feel like there's a little bit of a difference. I don't know if I can articulate what that difference is,
I need you to figure that out.
but like, put it this way, Wonder Woman you're going to see for a character, right? If Triple Frontier was out in theaters, you're going to see just straight up like,
Action.
some action.
So then maybe that's it. That's what defines an action movie and superhero movie is
Yeah.
you're seeing the movie for the superhero and what happens to that person, while with a Triple Frontier
Yeah,
or
you're going
old guard.
primarily.
You're
Though
gonna
I
go see
mean,
the action.
technically, this was a superhero movie because it is based off of a comic
well,
as well.
not all comic book though are
Superhero based.
I mean, but
Constantine
right?
is
Yes.
Constantine's not a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could
He's a
still
dick.
you could still call it a comic book /
Yeah,
superhero movie.
Comic book, yes. Superhero, no. Unless
mean,
it was.
I
don't know.
think they're interchangeable in the industry, right? Like it's considered one.
But there are so many comic books that have nothing to do with superheroes.
Yeah, but no one
Right?
cares about those.
Wow, Trina.
I mean, you're right. They're religious ones, they're westerns. Like there's
Yeah.
tons of comics, but
Yeah.
nobody cares about those anymore.
Yeah. But it
Nobody
would be
cared
a
about me when I put on.
it would be a disservice though to say,
Yeah.
we're going to see a comic book movie, therefore it automatically is a superhero. Like,
And
it's
by
a
the
little bit
way,
of a disservice.
comic books were basically when they first came out were just a way. I mean, the early superheroes and a lot of superheroes are just costumed police officers. Like that is the basis of
Fight crime.
of comics, right? Like it's a police it's an officer of the law wearing a cape.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. Before we jump into our Was It news section, those on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, definitely hit us up with questions. I see a couple of you have jumped in. Hello, boys. How's it going? We're going to jump into a couple of news items here about, speaking of police, the Batman TV show
Yes.
being produced by Matt Reeves.
Yeah, so it's being produced, and I don't know if he's going to run it, but it is going to take place in the same universe as The Batman, his movie that's coming out. Still no word if that's in the greater DCEU or if it's its own little pocket universe or if it's a pocket within the pocket or whatever it is. And
Palm Springs.
and obviously people were asking, okay, if this is a movie about the police force in Gotham City, will Commissioner Gordon, I don't know if he's a commissioner in The Batman, being played by Westworld alum Jeffrey Wright, appear in the show as well?
I would have to assume. Actually, there's nothing to assume. I mean, if they're making the series, well, do we know if it's happening concurrently with the movie? Is it before, after?
We don't know. We just know
Okay.
it's in the same world.
I would assume then it's going to be before, and they're going to kind of do like a Batman Year One graphic novel type situation, which focuses on Gordon and how he rises as a regular like beat cop to commissioner. And I think that's going to be more fascinating. And I think it's going to be even more fascinating. It's going on the HBO Max platform, so HBO's backing it. They are no strangers to police and police brutality. Well, not even police brutality, but like just talking about social issues. They're the big one, obviously. Watchmen series that they did was an interesting, scary insight into our current events of the world. I think this is going to be fascinating, especially with what's happening right now. If I had to guess, you're going to do it through the eyes of Gordon. He's going to see the corruption, and I don't know if they're going to go happy-go-lucky where it's like, Gordon's going to fix everything and get rid of all the scum.
It's also interesting, right? Jeffrey Wright is a black actor.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gordon from the comics is generally white, and of course you have the backlash of Gordon is a white character. Why are we not blah, blah, blah.
Is this the same jackasses that were all pissy about Idris Elba playing Heimdall
Yep.
in Thor?
Yeah. Just every single
Mary
potential,
Jane,
every backlash you could potentially ever
right.
get.
Quick question: is anyone else here though, like, really not that excited by it? Like, it's a cop show. Like,
Well,
is anyone really not?
Well,
I, for one, don't like cop shows.
what I'm interested to see is
What are they going to do differently? That's my question.
So as I mentioned earlier, right? Comic book superheroes are just generally, right, police wearing capes. And with everything that's going on in America right now, specifically with police brutality, which and because superhero / comic book movies are so popular, not just obviously in movies now, you're getting streaming shows, you're getting all these Marvel shows, now you're getting some DC HBO Max shows. Which of them are going to reflect what's happening in your current times, right? Because that's the beauty of comic books, right? You have reboots and retools that really identify what's going on. Captain America came out during World War II, like he was that was reflected the times, and then they've updated the character throughout the years. So
Wait, didn't Captain America? Stan Lee wrote the character after World War II.
I think it was during World War II.
Well, I mean, Stan Lee served in World War II, so like.
Well, he might have written it when he was serving.
Oh. Anyway, your point is valid. Sorry.
Yeah. The first appearance of Captain America was in March of 1941.
Oh, so before.
No, that's during World War II. World War II started in 1939.
Oh.
American involvement didn't occur until 1941 after Pearl Harbor.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that
History.
it's right there. That was the height, right? Because before Pearl Harbor, there was obviously a fever pitch. So, but yeah, I'm interested to see, could this potential police show for the Batman go head first and really identify, like, here's what's going on, and is it something Matt Reeves maybe felt passionate about? Of, okay, we kind of touch on it in the movie, but like obviously I can't reshoot the entire movie, so here's kind of my solution of like I want to reflect the times. Here's how I can do it. That's what I'm interested to see. If it's just another superhero show or like another
Cop
drama, I'm out. But if it is something that's
I
truly
have
reflective,
a feeling it's going to be reflective because like I said, we saw what HBO did with Watchmen. Like
that wasn't even reflective. That was prophetic. Like that really, like,
well,
not that obviously police brutality's been around, right? But it's never
been around. Yeah,
It's not been. I feel like in terms of the superhero genre, that was the first one that really took it on, and it right before the fever pitch.
And we also like because of the show, there was actual like action. Things were actually like people. Because a lot of Americans did not know about the Tulsa massacre and everything that happened back in the 20s. And because of the show, a lot of people were like, well, what the fuck are we doing?
And it got recognized, I'm pretty sure, because of the show.
Yep. So I think if HBO is smart and they are on the list of the many, many brands that back in early June were like, we're going to do things better. We're going to, give black voices. We're going to X, Y, and Z. Granted, it gets a little tricky when it comes to the police, but I still think it is something that we should look into and pay attention to.
Also, real quick, you are right about Captain America because Stan Lee did serve in World War II. Stan Lee did not create Captain America. Captain America was created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. So he was one of the characters that Stan did not create.
Oh, well, there we go.
Wow.
Moving into other news, Tenet already a flop.
Tenet's not just a flop; it's canceled. I mean, that's the only place where to go now.
Don't let Christopher Nolan hear that. He will Inception you.
Oh God.
Does this drive Christopher Nolan to go back making Batman movies?
Well, first of all, this is not surprising, right? No one's surprised here.
No. I think, and
how can you open a movie, show a movie, when theaters can't open?
Well, theaters were on path to open, and then everything backtracked.
Well,
because of
here's
what
the thing.
happened.
I know it's hindsight.
Yep.
They were never on track to open because of the very fact that we were trying to open them. Does that make sense, right? The act of trying to open things is what has set us back. So, take
So you're saying Christopher Nolan caused
where we're at right now.
Well, so here's
by
what's
trying to push it.
So here's what's interesting, right? The flopping. There was an article that came out that predicted that even if Tenet opened because of the delays and everything, to break even, it would have to make $800 million.
Oh, it would have done that, right? It would have cost $1 billion. No, you don't think so?
With the current status?
Current. No.
Wait, hold on a second. Let's back up for our readers here, because even I don't understand that math.
Yes.
The movie's already been shot and done.
Yes.
Obviously, the studio's in negative because the film hasn't been released.
Yes.
The longer that we wait, are they still losing money?
Yes.
Why? Explain that one.
Marketing.
What do you mean marketing?
Marketing dollars.
They still have to put out the commercials.
The commercials.
They still have to
the
keep
posters.
it in
then you have to pull it out, but you have to pull it back in.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to
That's
keep it
where
in the
they're losing the money.
right?
So for those listening, real quick, so in order for them to make money, the movie needs to come out. Otherwise, they're burning money through marketing dollar and spend.
I have a crazy theory right now that I just put together in my mind. Christopher Nolan.
Did Christopher Nolan Inception you?
Yes, he did. So Christopher Nolan has always worked with Warner Brothers, right? Like SynCorp, his production studio, I believe, is partnered with Warner Brothers. Like almost all his movies are distributed by Warner Brothers. That's how he made Batman. And then everyone knows he made Batman Begins. He got to make The Prestige. He made The Dark Knight. He got to make what was after that? Inception. Yeah, and then he got to make Dark Knight Rises, and he got to make
Dunkirk.
I forget the order now.
Anyway, it was a trade-off.
Yeah,
make superhero movie, make your own movie.
Yeah, then he gets to make his cool other movies, right?
Yep.
this movie is going to lose Warner Brothers a crap ton of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they've let Christopher Nolan kind of run free and be like, you remember, they wanted him to be the godfather of the DCEU. He helped with Man of Steel, and then he was like a small producer on Batman v Superman, and then he was out.
Yep.
Now because I don't know what their deal is, right? Like he could have like a lifetime contract or a big picture contract. They're like, hey man, even though it's because of the circumstances, Tenet lost us a lot of money, so we need a moneymaker from you.
Oh my God.
Is this the return of Christopher Nolan to the superhero DC genre? If they're like, okay, you don't have to do the DCU, we know that's a mess, but we're branching out, we're doing whatever we want. They're gonna give him his pick of whatever he wants to do for a DC property.
Batman Beyond.
I don't think so.
Just play along with the game.
No,
I don't
no,
think it's
no.
happening
I don't
either.
think that's happening.
I'd like
I
it to
think I don't know. I'm sure there's some kind of insurance or like slush fund or emergency funds for end of the world type pandemics. One would hope. So I don't know. I mean, every studio, Hollywood in general, is just money's going out the door. Marketing dollars, distribution issues. When things are quote normal again, the biggest question is going to be, when does the average consumer, not just in America, worldwide, when does the consumer feel comfortable going out? You saw places like New Zealand, other countries, they've opened up, and we've seen these, insane pictures of bars being open and they're packed and whatever. That's still a small sect of people. Yeah. It is not the every single person consumer. There's still people that are now completely different from this event that is still ongoing.
Yeah.
It is possible that this is the start of the theater. This is the end of the theater to a degree. And like
Don't tell Christopher Nolan.
And yeah, please. I don't want to be Inception. And you were saying like, is this the new rise of the drive-in theater? And at first when you said that, I laughed, but the more I think about it, I was like, well, fuck, that might be the case now. That might be, unfortunately, where we're going.
At least for studios right now, the easiest way, in my opinion, to make money or to try and make money off of these movies that you filmed is, release them into drive-ins, because some of these organizations have got it down pretty well. I don't know. I like my theory because, like Christian just said, that was the first thing I would think of. Batman Beyond with Christian Bale as like old man Batman. You could even bring back Joseph Gordon-Levitt as like old man Robin if you wanted to, or like
Nightwing.
Yeah,
like
or something. Like you could do something really cool. I don't know. I thought it was.
It'll never
idea.
happen, but I do love the idea.
If it does happen, 2025, 2026.
No, 2030.
Yeah, Christian Bale. Could
He'll be old by then.
Christian Bale could be an old fat man. He's done it before.
It's
Dick
true.
Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
That's true. All right, because you're mad. Yeah, that actually works as an old man Bruce Wayne. Dick Cheney.
And Christian Bale has repeatedly said he would only return to Batman if Christopher Nolan did it. In fact, because there was talks initially when they were thinking about doing Batman v Superman, trying to get Christian Bale to be the Batman.
Why?
Instead of because they already had the pre-established Batman.
The problem though is with Christian Bale against like a Henry Cavill, and this is no knock at Henry Cavill.
No, you can knock him.
Maybe it is a little bit of a knock, but he would outact him.
Yeah, that's what would be great.
Yeah.
No, but then what happens then though is when you have like a way better actor who's like full in method acting compared to an actor who's kind of like half-assing it, the person who is like the actual good actor comes across as goofy and just kind of like uncomfortable and awkward.
So two points to that. Many times when you have films where one actor is clearly better, they make the other actor better because they want to work as a team. They're like, I don't want to have a great performance and have my co-star be this piece of shit, right? So, and there's a couple of examples of that throughout
Harry
history.
Potter. Dudley Dursley was.
Yes, Harry Potter
he
indeed.
Raised up Daniel Radcliffe's star.
Can you imagine how much better Henry Cavill as Superman could be if he had someone like Christian Bale to work across
instead of Ben
from?
Affleck?
Instead of Ben Affleck, exactly, like Jesus. Because Henry Cavill, I don't know. I was gonna say can act, but I don't know if I've actually ever seen him pull something out.
His most famous
range.
thing is the arm load that
Tutors?
he did in the Mission Impossible trailer. Remember he does like this, and it was like an arm load thing.
What?
Okay. I'll just see myself.
See
out.
yourself out. Unbelievable.
But anyway, Tenet indefinitely delayed.
And it's probably not. It needs to make $1 billion now to break even.
The other big blockbuster that another small little company is riding on, Mulan and Disney. Right now it's slated for, I believe, August 21st. If that doesn't happen, then the next one is, I think, Wonder Woman in an October release.
1980, yeah.
And then if that doesn't happen, you're not seeing any. You saw no other blockbusters in 2021.
Real quick.
Wait, sorry. Dune is still slated as of right now for December 21st.
Do we see any blockbusters in 2020 come out in theaters?
No.
No.
Yeah, that's not happening.
It's just
Which
not.
sucks.
It's just.
But that's the case.
No.
Speaking of people who say things suck, John Boyega recently was on his Instagram, posted a little bit a picture of himself in protective gear, getting makeup done. Clearly, he's on set somewhere for some film, and a couple of fans, asked him some questions. One of the questions were. Basically, like they're expressing their desire to see him reprise his great role as Finn, the character that Star Wars and Disney curb stomped.
Yes.
And
I think they specifically asked to see Finn wielding a green lightsaber. And his response was,
yeah, so it was Force Finn in action with green lightsaber, dressed in black, is all I want from the next SW film. And his response was, LOL, no thank you, I've moved on, heart emoji.
now think about where. So John Boyega was the one actor who came onto the Star Wars set of the new trilogy, right? The sequel trilogy.
Yep.
As a legitimate
Star
fan.
Wars fan.
As a legit fan, right?
He was?
Yes. He
Oh,
grew up a Star
no.
Wars fan.
He was
They
a huge fan.
destroyed him.
There's so many video clips that you can see from behind the scenes of Episode 7.
This is
when,
just heartbreaking.
when he
now.
meets when he sees Harrison Ford
Yeah.
dressed up, when he sees the Chewbacca costume, Disney's marketing group saw this young actor, very pumped, very excited for the entire Star Wars universe, and they pushed all that content out, and you can see this authentic, young actor, very, very excited to be there. Dream come true. He's worked his ass off to become an actor, and now he's been placed into Star Wars. And then those fuckers did that to him.
Yeah.
No wonder he would come out and say that. I mean,
He was still kind.
props to him. That comment, very professional, very kind, very firm, to the point. Yeah, he's like, I'm done. And it is definitely a little heartbreaking because it's like, yeah, he liked and loved Star Wars, and he's left, unfortunately, with this kind of distaste. Not because, and for us as fans and watching it, we go and we see the movie, and to a degree we're like, cool, we're done. We can find some other piece of content. The dude was embedded in making of this film. There are, I'm sure, other stories, other comments, things we haven't heard.
Oh, God.
That would kind of put him to where he's been put at. And then also the worst part, dealing with the fucked up fan base.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you remember when The Last Dance came out a few months ago, everyone was like, "Oh, this is such a cool
The which one?
The Last Dance."
Oh,
Michael
yes.
Jordan.
And it's
Michael
such a
Jordan.
good peak behind Jordan and those Bulls championship.
Yeah.
I want that for the making of the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
I don't.
Because I think it would
Here's
be
why I do that.
fascinating. I think it'd be fascinating to see all the years with George Lucas having it, then him basically flipping off the fan base, selling it to Disney, and then the Disney overlords getting it, corrupting John Boyega in terms of just killing his spirit.
It would literally
It
kill.
would be a fascinating.
You're
tale.
right. It would be fascinating, but it would also destroy any shred of magic that is left in the franchise, which is almost
true.
gone. Don't get me wrong. It's
new-
almost gone.
New
But-
life goal. New life goal. I will make this documentary myself.
All right, fine, and you can only show it to us.
You going through the legal because remember, you can't just go start shooting and then let's say you have footage somehow. I don't know how the fuck you would get any of this footage. Let's say you get this footage and then you try and put it out. The amount of cease and desist and the amount of lawsuits and bullshit you'd have to go through. God.
Rab, you think Disney has any more money to come at me? They're gonna be selling that footage to me on the cheap.
Wow. I will say this: the comment makes me feel like John Boyega may be the next generation's Harrison Ford.
Yes.
Harrison Ford has really always been. He's always, I think, fought back against reprising any role, and he's always just been a curmudgeon-y old man around the whole thing.
Yeah,
with
of
all
course.
of his projects, from Indiana Jones to Star Wars. I'm hoping that John Boyega goes a similar route where he'll just be he's like, no, fuck Star Wars, and eventually he's like, all right, I'll come back. And he's gonna play this grizzled, older Finn who's just fuck everything.
But
yeah.
the biggest, unfortunately, Krishna, I think,
I know it's not the same.
I think it's
They really have destroyed him.
yeah, exactly. The problem is we liked the Harrison Ford, the Han Solo character,
Yeah.
because it was presented in a way that made sense, and we wanted him to win.
One of the best.
They presented Finn in the worst possible light.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like cool.
Yeah.
I'm only
understand.
these films are just distasteful now because I'll go back and watch these films, realize what happened, but then also I'll be chuckling in my head because John Boyega's like, well, I did this to you.
Yeah.
And honestly, they deserve that.
So here's my thinking, right? His comments are very 2020. They shut the door. They're very friendly, but doesn't shut the door all the way.
No?
And if I had to read between it, right? Because John Boyega used to talk about how he wanted to play a Marvel character, and he's like, I want to be Blade, right? Or I want to be this or that. And since Rise of Skywalker came out, he's really like pulled away from the entire Disney umbrella, right? He's just said this about Star Wars. He's said very little about Marvel. My thinking is his issue is probably with Disney as a whole. It's with the people who are running Disney. I don't know if that goes all the way to like the Igers of the world, or if it's like the Kathleen Kennedys, or if it's J.J. Abrams, like what level it is. But clearly he's dissatisfied. I feel like if you got the right filmmaker in there, right, that he really liked and appreciated and was like, here, come work with me, I have this great Star Wars idea, I think he would listen to it and potentially reprise it in that way. But until Star Wars and Disney maybe gets that new blood that it, I think, probably desperately needs at this point, he's probably done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like John Boyega being done with that, we're going to move on. Bruce, and speaking of Disney and that gigantic clusterfuck, the Russo brothers would return to Marvel for Secret Wars. I don't know why this is really news. This seems kind of like, duh. But if anyone has any other thoughts on it.
I have a thought on it.
Let's hear it.
The reason I put this in here is because, fuck no. That's my
really?
reason. And the reason
which part? Which part?
Them returning to the MCU.
Why?
Because the biggest problem with Marvel is that everything feels the same. You're going to bring in the guys that have done 4 Marvel movies that have had overarching implications on a bunch of other movies that all feel the same. Like, I want something different in the MCU. I don't want another Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame type of product. Like, those were great. I liked those movies. They're done. We do not need them again. I can go back and watch them, and they're still enjoyable. Them doing Secret Wars, it would just be Civil War again. It would just be Infinity War again. Like, I want to see a new filmmaker take on the project and show me something different. That's what I want. Go ahead.
So the reason I slowly raised my hand, it's not the Russo brothers. It's this weird guy who wears jeans and a baseball cap named Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige has final say on everything.
Yeah, but
it's Kevin Feige's machine. So
he's still not the director. So you still get a different. Black Panther still has a slightly different flavor than other movies, right?
However small that might be, it is there.
It's there, right? Ryan Coogler is still a vastly different director than Kenneth Branagh was in the first Thor movie.
Oh, God.
Kenneth Branagh. Wow.
Who was obsessed. What's the fucking angle called? The Dutch angle.
I like Dutch angles. They're cool.
Not in every fucking scene.
You know what? This podcast live show, which you can find on twitch.tv/Was It Good every Monday, we're going to change everything to Dutch angles. Fuck it.
What's a Dutch angle?
It's
Here, let me show you.
It's where you have the camera at twisted.
Twist it like a side.
Like this. That's
stupid.
And
artistic.
Branagh said he wanted to do that because it replicates what you see in comic books with the
they're at slanted angles. Very rarely, like in comics,
Real
in
quick.
the panels, are they like straight on or
right.
Ang Lee tried to replicate comic books in his Hulk movie. Did that work? No. Maybe we shouldn't replicate
That's why
comic
Kenneth Branagh
books.
never came back for the Thor movie.
Who did the
But hey, Arjuna.
I don't know.
Arjuna, that Thor movie is different. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's
But I'm Dutch angles everywhere.
But all I'm saying is, I just want give somebody else a chance to tell a story.
So
not the same people.
Should we sing that song, Take a Chance on Me?
Yeah, give it to the Ramgopal brothers to do. Secret Wars.
We have the same initial R.
Yeah,
give it to us.
That would be,
lens flares.
real quick, as brothers ourselves, I always give props to the Russo brothers. like having that they've worked so closely together for like their entire like professional careers and probably previously, I'm pretty sure I'd kill one of you. In the
they
process.
probably have killed themselves, each other and themselves. And also, there's only 2 of them. Can you imagine how much more complicated it gets with 3? It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible.
It's true. You always hear like the Wachowski siblings, right? There's 2 of them. The Russo brothers, 2. Yeah, 3 is a lot.
Before we get into our last 2 pieces of news, we do have a comment here. What you think about Pizzagate? No, we're not touching that. Don't worry about that. Anyway, last piece of news. Last real official piece of news. Peacock launched.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I feel about that. I'll say this real quick. Launched with a fucked up Android app. Didn't launch with a Roku app. The service was mostly down for the first 2 initial days of launch. So, good launch, I guess.
I mean, the biggest piece of news that came out of this was the 30 Rock reunion episode that they did. So a lot of the local NBC affiliates pulled it. The reason being because this reunion episode was basically an extended trailer for Peacock / NBC Universal, their apps. And they're like, so the cable providers were like, why are we going to show something that's advocating for people to go stream?
Mm-hmm.
And then fans hated it because it was just a 30-minute commercial with their favorite characters. And that's the biggest news that came out of Peacock.
Is anyone here going to actually... I mean, there's a free tier, and then there's a $5 tier. So...
That's a funny comment you just made, Ravi.
What?
No, nothing.
No one's going to do it?
Do what?
Get the...
No.
I don't
Fuck
think
no.
so. I mean...
it's NBC.
I don't know
what is good on NBC.
I don't know what there is on.
There's that thing
Peacock,
with the actor who plays Ross from Friends and some Indian guy, and their
I don't
agents,
even know what you're talking
their
about.
agents
I mean, that's
for
one
the
That's
show.
how
British.
bad. That's how bad
That's
the
one
marketing
show.
is.
Yeah, the marketing for the Peacock app has been pretty underwhelming.
Garbage.
And the last piece of news, you'll notice on Krishna's face is now different.
Zoom in.
Are you actually going to zoom in? Don't do that.
Yeah, zoom in.
Krishna, move in the middle because I don't want to move the camera. There we go. Look at how different his face is.
Yeah, look at that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I used to have a beard or some facial hair, and then I was forced to shave it. If you haven't checked out our Twitch from earlier this week, we had a cosplay video up. So the reason I shaved my beard is because we were doing a little cosplay video where I had to reprise my role as Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. So I shaved off the beard. But we did have a bet going. Juno, what was that bet?
The bet was for $200 that I was going to win $200 if you had to shave it and couldn't grow the beard to your nipples. And
I was fully invested, by the way.
Yeah, and then Krishna was going to win if he could grow it. So initially, Krishna allowed me to come up with a new bet to kind of take this one, as it wasn't necessarily his choice to cut the beard, right? He was doing it for a role,
Doing it
our
for Bad Tacos
Media. I said, Krishna, all you have to do is beat a video game in about a month, right? And Krishna's like, yeah, I'll do it. So like that night,
He picked Grand Theft Auto.
5, one of the greatest video games ever created.
Overrated.
The storyline's actually pretty good.
The story is incredible.
The story is great.
It's a great game, right? It's easy to play. It's not like I asked him to go play Dynasty Warriors 4 for 500 hours. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I'll do it. He said this at like 5, 6 o'clock at night. I go up to my room, getting ready for bed. I get a little notification on my phone at like 11 o'clock. It's from the app we use to transfer money.
Cash App.
Cash App.
Not sponsoring.
We're
us, by the way.
sponsored. And literally the text says, I'm not going to play this game. Here you go.
And I gave him his $200. Yeah. And now I'm free. I've had that bet sitting over my head because it came from an earlier bet too.
What was your earlier bet? Like, what kicked the whole thing off?
Beat a different video game in a month without restarting.
In a year. I gave you a full year.
Was it a year?
I gave you a full year to beat a video game with the same character without restarting.
Yeah, I picked a new character in a month.
Yeah.
So I owed him $100 from that.
Yeah.
And then we went double or nothing on the beard, and so
Like
I'm finally
4
free.
years later.
But yeah, well, you got your money. It's $200.
I did.
It's worth it.
You're right.
You played the long game, so yeah.
If we had an interest, you should have given me like $1,000.
No, we don't have interest.
Oh.
And you made 100% more. What more do you want?
200%.
Or was it 200% more? It was 100% more. I never get percentages right when you double.
That's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you for watching, listening. As always, this podcast is streamed every Monday night live on twitch.tv/wasitgood. You can find us on Twitter at wasitgood and on Instagram at wasitgoodbtm. Stay indoors, wear your masks. Come November, and make sure you go fucking vote.
Wow.
Say goodbye.
Oh, bye-bye.
We are still streaming.
Yay.
I will take
Well,
it
that's the
off.
end of the
Say goodbye to
podcast.
YouTube and Facebook.
Bye, YouTube. Bye, Facebook.